Hello, my deliciously twisted. Welcome back to Velvet Crypt and another CARNEL Friday. Today we're diving into a book where apparently the dating advice is don't trust hot guys. Actually, don't trust any guy. And maybe turn off your Wi-Fi.
Welcome to the Velvet Crypt.
Because today we're talking about My Masked Shadow by Arden Hart, the third book in the Beautiful Stalker series. And if you enjoy your romance with obsessive men, questionable morals, hacking, stalking, secret identities, gaming, enemies to lovers' energy, and enough spice to make your router file a restraining order, you may have found your people. But before we get into it, this dark romance, it is dark. So we're talking stalking, surveillance, obsession, hacking, voyeurism, violence, and some very adult situations. If those aren't your thing, this is probably your sign to protect your peace. But if they are your thing, come sit down, because we need to talk about Ethan. So, My Masked Shadow is book 3 in the Beautiful Stalker series. And this time, we're following Barbara and Ethan. Barbara is a kindergarten teacher who also happens to be a gamer. And Ethan is the loud, cocky, inappropriate guy who seems determined to annoy Barbara every time he's within approximately 10 feet of her. He's also an ex-military intelligence specialist, and hacker, and stalker, and apparently believes that respecting someone's privacy is more of a suggestion than an actual rule. Because Ethan doesn't just want Barbara's attention. He wants access. Her devices, her passwords, her cameras, her microphone, her digital life. Basically, Barbara's privacy looked at Ethan's and said, "Well, it was nice knowing you." And here's where things get particularly interesting. Because Barbara doesn't realize that the man she's getting to know online is actually Ethan. He's using an online persona named Seb, and Barbara starts developing a connection with this mysterious gamer, while simultaneously being irritated as hell by Ethan in real life. Chef's kiss on that one. So essentially, she hates Ethan, she likes Seb, and Ethan is sitting there like, this is going even better than I planned. Sir, that is not how healthy relationships begin. Let's talk about Ethan, because this man is a problem. Not a small problem. Not a maybe therapy could help problem. We're talking about the kind of problem where you should probably change your passwords immediately. Ethan is cocky, he's funny, he's inappropriate, he's possessive, he's obsessive, and somehow he's charming. And that, my friends, is the danger of this particular type of dark romance hero. Because the book knows exactly what it's doing. If Ethan were simply creepy and miserable, we'd all be sitting here going, "Barbara, run!" But instead, Arden gives him humor, confidence, chemistry, protectiveness, and vulnerability. And suddenly I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this man is absolutely terrifying. But unfortunately, I understand the appeal. And that is where dark romance gets me. Every single time. Damn it. Because the fantasy isn't necessarily, I want this man in my actual life. The fantasy is I want someone who is that obsessed with me. There is a difference. Believe me, there's a difference. And Ethan takes that obsession and turns the dial all the way up, past 100. Now, Barbara, I have thoughts. Because Barbara is not your typical helpless heroine waiting for her mysterious stalker to rescue her. She's stubborn. Don't know what that's like. She's sarcastic. Yeah, can't relate to that. No. And she's independent. Oh, and she also pushes back against Ethan, which is important because he needs it. Because if your heroine just rolls over and says, "Oh no, you've hacked my computer, how romantic," I'm gonna need a minute. Barbara actually has opinions. She doesn't just immediately fall at Ethan's feet. She fights him, she questions him, and she has to figure out whether the person she's attracted to is actually someone she can trust. Which becomes even more complicated because she's attracted to two versions of the same man: the Ethan she knows in person, and Seb, the man she meets online. And that creates some genuinely entertaining tension because we know, Ethan knows, but Barbara, girl, you are playing detective in a mystery where the murderer is sitting next to you.
The asylum.
Now let's get into the psychology, because this is actually where I think My Masked Stalker becomes more interesting than simply being another spicy stalker romance. The central fantasy here is being completely seen. And I mean completely. Ethan doesn't just notice Barbara's appearance. He studies her. He learns her habits. He knows what she likes. He pays attention to her routines. And through his online persona, he gets access to a side of Barbara that she doesn't necessarily show people in her everyday life. That creates this psychological contradiction, because being watched is terrifying, but being known can feel incredibly intimate. And that's where the line dark romance constantly plays with. When does attention become obsession? When does protection become control? When does desire become possession? And at what point does someone being completely fascinated by you stop being flattering and becomes deeply unsettling? This book intentionally lives in that gray area. And Ethan, he practically built a condo there. I also really enjoyed the gaming component, because I myself am a gamer. Because instead of the typical we met at a bar or we work together or our families hate each other, we get this online relationship, which, let's be honest, is more common nowadays than ever. Barbara is able to interact with Seb without knowing exactly who he is, and that creates a completely different kind of intimacy. Think about it. When you're communicating online, you can sometimes reveal things you wouldn't say face to face. You can be more honest, more playful, more vulnerable. And Barbara starts connecting with someone who makes her feel understood. The problem, the person behind the screen, is Ethan, and Ethan has been watching her. So the emotional connection is built on a massive deception. And that is where the story gets deliciously messy. Okay, we have to talk about the spice, because this is Carnal Friday. I didn't come here to discuss kindergarten lesson plans. The spice in My Masked Shadow is hot. We're talking obsessive, possessive, kinky, and very much adult. I even got my glass ready ahead of time. There are power dynamics here that are absolutely not for everyone. Except for me, because, well, we won't go there. And the book knows its audience. Yes, it does. If you're looking for a sweet little romance where the biggest scandal is holding hands, wrong crypt. Go on. Go. But what I appreciate is that the spice isn't the only thing happening. There is an actual story happening around the relationship. There's danger. There's a continuing storyline from the previous books, which I love. Any authors out there? Keep them coming. There's the question of Ethan's identity. There's Barbara trying to understand what exactly is happening. And then you've got all this tension building between the characters. So, yes, the spice is spicy. But there's enough plot to keep you turning pages. There are several things I really enjoyed. Number one, Ethan's personality. He is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean that affectionately. He's cocky, he's funny, he's inappropriate. And he has this energy that keeps scenes moving. Number two, the online relationship. The Seb Ethan situation gives the romance a fun layer of deception. You're watching Barbara fall for someone while knowing the truth. And that creates delicious dramatic irony. Number three, the chemistry. These two have chemistry. There's banter, there's frustration, there's attraction, there's that constant, I shouldn't want you. Followed immediately by, unfortunately, I really want you. And that's the good stuff. And number four, the continuation of the beautiful stalker's world. The previous couples don't simply disappear. The series continue to feel interconnected. So if you've been following these characters from the earlier books, there are little moments that make the series feel like one larger story instead of four completely disconnected romances, which I myself absolutely crave. I love to feel connected, like I'm actually part of that world. So keep them coming, really, seriously. Keep them coming. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this book is flawless because you know me. I love a dark romance, but I also want to trust the person reviewing it. And there were moments where I wanted more character depth, more time getting underneath Barbara and Ethan's emotional layers. The book moves quickly, and for some readers, that's going to be a huge positive. For me, there were moments when I thought, wait, I need more information here. And I'd go back and see if I actually missed something, especially because the premise gives us so much potential. You've got a hacker, a secret identity, an online relationship, a woman who doesn't know the man she's talking to is the man she's already fighting with. There is a lot of psychological material, which, again, love it. And sometimes I wanted the book to slow down just enough to dig deeper into it. I also think some readers may struggle with Barbara. She's not necessarily going to be everyone's favorite heroine. And that's okay. I actually prefer a heroine who makes me argue with her occasionally over one who feels like a cardboard cutout. I'd rather read about the girl and when to rattle her going, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. But I definitely found myself having moments of, Barbara, girl, you's in danger. We're gonna need to talk. So, would I recommend My Masked Shadow? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're already enjoying the beautiful Stalker series. If you love obsessive heroes, secret identities, hacker romance, online gaming, stalking, possessive men, banter, and a whole lot of spice, oh yeah, then this one absolutely deserves a spot on your TBR. But I want to be very clear. This isn't a book where you should be taking relationship advice. If your boyfriend starts hacking your devices, that's not Ethan behavior. That's a call your friends and change your passwords behavior. In dark romance, hot. Very hot. Scorching. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In real life, call the authorities. We know the difference. Yes, we know the difference. For me, I'm giving my masked shadow a 4 out of 5. And for the spice, oh yeah, 5 out of 5. Because Arden Hart absolutely understood the assignment. My biggest reason for taking off that final crypt is that I wanted more depth from the characters and more time exploring some of the psychological consequences of the relationship. But did I have fun? Yeah, absolutely. Was Ethan unhinged? Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Was Barbara occasionally frustrating? Again, gonna have to say yes. Did I keep turning the pages? Come on now. You know the answer to that one. So, my deliciously twisted? That is my review of My Masked Shadow by Arden Hart. If you read it, I want to know, are you Team Ethan? Or Team somebody please take this man's Wi Fi away? Because personally, I'm somewhere in the middle. Don't judge me. I don't judge you. If you enjoy this review, make sure you
like, subscribe, and toll the bell
so you don't miss another next Carnal Friday. And if you're new here, welcome to the crypt. Around here, we read books that make us question our morals, our sanity, and occasionally our search history. I'm Autumn Amber. This is Velvet Crypt. And remember, read dangerously, judge fictional men harshly, and never give a morally gray hacker your password. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.